You probably stumbled on this because you want to learn about Airbnb, but what I'm going to talk about is so much more than just Airbnb. I'm going over rental arbitrage. This is essentially where you are renting other people's properties, listing them short term, renting them out to traveling nurses, business professionals, or even families, either through contracts or through platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, or bookings.com, etc., etc. And then you start making some serious cash flow without ever having to buy a house. But where do you even start? How do you get your first property? Where should you look? How do you furnish it to stand out? All those questions are probably swirling in your mind. And today, I'm here to give you the exact answers that you need. This isn't a surface level guide or some half-baked breakdown that leaves you more confused than when you started. I'm gonna give you the full picture, step by step. No fluff whatsoever, no secrets left out. And by the end of this, you won't need to research for another guide, at least not on rental arbitrage. Now, I know you might be wondering, who's this guy and what does he know? Fair question. So my name is Stephen Billman. You'll see my social medias as Stephen Bill Moss. I've built a rental arbitrage business generating $150,000 a month from properties I do not own. I've also mentored over 500 students, giving them the same blueprint that's taken them from zero to running a successful arbitrage operation. We're about to break down exactly how to start a rental arbitrage business from scratch, but before we dive into the process, there's something that you need to understand. This isn't traditional real estate investing. Rental arbitrage is a hospitality business. Yes, you're dealing with real estate assets, but the game you're playing is providing an experience, creating spaces that travelers, professionals, and families actually want to stay in. And while the steps are straightforward, this business takes work, commitment, and a ton of attention to detail. So let me be clear, this isn't a set it and forget it type thing, especially in the beginning. If you think you'll just grab a lease, throw some furniture in it, and magically watch the money roll in, let me stop you there. It doesn't work like that whatsoever. This business is simple, but I wouldn't say it's easy. There are systems to learn, relationships to build, and processes to refine. You'll need to invest time up front to get this machine running smoothly. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about what it takes to actually get started. Now, I'm gonna be going over the mindset shift, and this is pretty relevant to most businesses, but this is the mindset shift that you need before you diving in, before you secure your first property or buy a single piece of furniture. You need to get your head in the right place. Ask yourself, why do you want to do rental arbitrage? Is it for financial gain? Is it for flexibility? Is it to prove to yourself that you can run your own business? Whatever your reason, understand this. At its core, you're doing it for freedom. The money you earn from the business isn't just about stacking cash. It's about creating options. Options to spend your time how you want, options to grow beyond the limits of a single paycheck, options to build a business that works for you. But that freedom doesn't come without a price. Be honest with yourself. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to trade your Netflix binges for research and market analysis? Are you ready to skip a few nights going out so you can study how to furnish a property for maximum returns? Are you prepared to put in a few intense months so that later you can enjoy the fruits of fully automated operation? If you answer yes to any of that and you're ready for what's next, because the reality is starting a rental arbitrage business requires dedication and a willingness to learn. You're entering the world of hospitality, and that means managing guest expectations, solving problems on the fly, and continually refining your systems. But if you put in the work, the payoff is worth it, trust me. So let's dive right into it. Step one is gonna be understanding the rental arbitrage model. And keep in mind, a lot of this is relevant to like anything when it comes to short-term rentals. So let's break it down exactly what rental arbitrage is. And at its simplest, rental arbitrage is a strategy where you rent a property from a landlord, furnish it, and then sublet it to a short-term basis with the landlord's permission. You're acting as the middleman between the landlord and short-term renters like traveling professionals, families, traveling nurses, vacationers, anybody that might need a place to stay on a short-term basis. You don't need to own the property, you just need to control it. The value you provide comes from transforming that empty rental into a well-designed, comfortable space that guests are happy to pay a premium for. Here's how it works in practice. You sign a lease with the landlord, typically 12 to 24 months. I try to shoot for as long as possible, like 4 years. And you furnish the property with everything a guest might need: beds, kitchen essentials, decor, amenities, anything that make the stay enjoyable for the guest. You list the property on platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, Bookings.com, or even connect directly with traveling professionals and insurance relocation companies. You manage bookings, guest communications, and cleaning services to keep everything running smooth. So, done right, the income from short-term rentals can easily exceed the monthly rent, and as well as the expenses, leaving you with a solid profit margin. But more than that, you're building a business that thrives on efficiency, presentation, and customer satisfaction. So that brings me to step number 2, and that is choosing the right market for your first property. All right, you got the mindset and understand the business model. Now, the big question: where the hell do you start looking for your first property? That's probably one of the number one questions that I get. The key to success in rental arbitrage is picking the right market. And no, you don't need to be in glamorous high demand cities like LA, New York, or Miami. In fact, those markets often become more of a headache than profitable. With regulations, competition, and high cost, instead, look closer to home. You want a market within 1 to 2 hours of where you live. Why? Because in the beginning, being able to handle issues personally is invaluable. Things will go wrong, a guest will lose a key, a cleaner will cancel, a pipe might burst. And when you're starting out, being nearby gives you the flexibility to troubleshoot. Troubleshoot any problem and fine-tune your processes. Start by considering cities or towns that are growing or have consistent demand for short-term stays. Think places near hospitals, business hubs, universities, tourist attractions, or national parks. People travel for all sorts of reasons, not just for vacation. Work, leisure, medical care. And if you want to be in a market that consistently attracts these travelers, to figure it out if a market is a good fit, what I would do is use a tool like AirDNA. Yes, airdna.co. Focuses on short-term rental data, but the insights apply perfectly to rental arbitrage. Plug in potential cities and look for following indicators: an occupancy rate of at least 70%. This means demand is steady, and average daily rate of $150 or higher. This ensures your potential revenue is worth the effort. And at least 250 active listings in the area. This shows there's an established market for short-term rentals. Step 3, locking down your first property so you have identified the market you want to operate in. The numbers you just need to check out and make sure they match. Occupancy rates are solid, daily rates are high enough to make this worth your time, and there's proven demand. Now, it's time to do the real work, finding and securing your first property. This is where most people get stuck, but that won't be you. Why? Because I'm about to give you the exact steps to approach landlords, pitch your business, and get the yes you need to start this journey. First, let's talk about where to find properties. Forget scrolling endlessly through random rental listings. You need to be strategic. Platforms like Zillow, HotPads, and Apartments.com are your hunting grounds. But you're not looking for just any rental. You want the ones listed by independent landlords, not massive property management companies, not any sort of real estate person, by the owner of the property. So how do you spot the difference? Listings by independent landlords typically have a personal touch. A first name, a direct phone number, or a less corporate sounding description. Once you've found a few potential properties, it's time to reach out. This is where the magic actually happens. So most landlords have never heard of rental arbitrage, so your approach needs to be clear, confident, and benefit driven. You're not just asking to rent their property, you're offering them a guaranteed income stream with someone who will treat their property like it's literal gold. Your pitch should go something like this. Hi, Mr. Landlord. My name is Steven, and I run a professional short-term rental business. I specialize in renting properties just like yours, maintaining them to the highest standard, and then renting them out to business professionals, traveling nurses, families. I ensure the property stays in pristine condition with professional cleanings after every single stay and your regular maintenance checks. You get on-time rent payments, a well cared for property, better than any long-term tenant could ever care for it or clean it, and none of the hassle of traditional tenants. I'd love to discuss how this could work for both of us. You're showing them the upside in this. The guaranteed rent, top tier maintenance, and peace of mind. That's what landlords care about. Expect a ton of questions. They'll want to know who's staying in their property, how it'll be cared for, and what happens if something goes wrong. So be ready to answer these questions confidently. And if you want to know how to answer those questions, I'll drop my free training down below that gives you all my scripts and everything on how to answer all this stuff. So next, you want to explain that your guests are vetted. Your cleaning team ensures the place is spotless, and you have insurance and policies in place to handle any issues. When they agree, you'll want to get everything in writing, have a sublease addendum, and a furnished rental agreement ready to go. These documents make it crystal clear that you have permission to operate a short-term rental and outline everyone's responsibilities. If you need templates, I've got them, but make sure you customize them to each landlord's needs. Step number 4 is furnishing your property to maximize appeal. So you got the keys in your hand. Now, this is the fun part. Turning that empty rental into a place people will be dying to book. But this isn't about slapping together some random furniture or slapping it all together and then just calling it a day. This is about creating an experience, a space that actually stands out in a sea of boring rentals and gets guests to click that book now button. Start with the essentials. Every great rental needs a comfortable bed, a fully stocked kitchen, and a living space that feels inviting. Think of it like this. Your job is to anticipate your guests' needs before they even need them, before they even know that they have them. And when it comes to the bed, don't cheap out. A plush, comfortable mattress with quality bedding can make or break a guest experience. They may forgive a less than stellar review, but if they can't sleep, they'll leave a review that could tank your listing. Aim for hotel quality linens and pillows. It's a small investment that pays off repeat bookings and 5-star reviews. In the kitchen, stock everything they'll need to cook a full meal. We're talking pots, pans, utensils, a coffee maker, and some basic pantry staples. Imagine a guest arriving late at night, starving, and being able to whip up a quick meal. You just turned a potential headache into a very affordable win. Now, let's talk design. Your space needs to have a ton of character. No one remembers a beige room with a gray couch. Add a pop of color, unique artwork, or a statement piece that grabs attention. Use Pinterest for inspiration. There are thousands of design boards dedicated to short-term rentals on Pinterest, and if your interior design isn't your thing, hire someone who can make your space shine. A professional touch can turn a forgettable rental into a must-book destination. Don't forget the small touches that make a big impact. First, a welcome basket with snacks and a handwritten note. That is super awesome for reviews. Secondly, high-speed Wi-Fi and smart TV with streaming options and extra chargers, blankets, and toiletries, and anything else that you could think of. These details show your guests that you care. And they're the kind of things people rave about in the reviews because nobody else is doing it. Finally, hire a professional photographer. This isn't negotiable at all. Don't use your iPhone. Don't try to do it yourself unless you're a professional. Your photos are your first impression and they need to be stunning. Guests scroll through listings very quickly, and if your photos don't grab them, they'll move on. Make sure the lighting is perfect, the space is spotless, and every angle showcases the best features of each room of your property. Step number 5, setting up systems to automate your business. This is my favorite part. Once your property is ready and your listing is live, the real work begins. But here's the key to making this business sustainable: automation. The less time that you spend on the day-to-day tasks, the more time you have to focus on growth. Start with your guest communications. Use a tool that I personally use, which is Guesty, to handle messages automatically. Set up templates for booking confirmations, check-in instructions, and checkout reminders, and anything else that you can think of to remind the guest that you don't want to text every single time that someone checks in. Guests love quick responses, and automated ensures that they get what they need without you having to lift a finger instantly. Next, set up a cleaning team. Platforms like Turno, which is formerly known as Turnover B&B, connect you with cleaners who specialize in short-term rentals. They'll get notifications when a guest checks out, so your property is always guest ready. Invest in smart technology to make management seamless. Smart locks let guests check in and check out with a code that changes for every single guest, eliminating the need for key changes. Noise monitors alert you if a party is getting out of hand. Ring doorbells provide security without invading privacy. And with these systems in place, you'll find that running a rental arbitrage business doesn't require you to be glued to your phone 24/7. You can step back, let the systems work for you, and focus on scaling. Which brings me to step number 6, launching and optimizing your rental arbitrage property. Your property is furnished, your systems are in place, and your listing is live. Congratulations. But this isn't the finish line. It's the starting block. The moment you launch your property is when the real game begins. It's time to make sure that your listing doesn't just sit there gathering dust while competitors rake in bookings. You want your place to be a high-performing cash magnet right out of the gate. And the first thing you need to understand is that short-term rental platforms reward activity and engagement just exactly the same way that social media does. And when you launch your property, the algorithm gives you a little boost. It's like a welcome gift. But to take advantage of it, you need to get those first few bookings and reviews fast. Think of it as your property's debut performance. You want to hit the ground running. To get those initial bookings, consider starting with a slightly lower price than you're gonna be at a few months down the line. I know it stings to think about making less at the beginning, but trust me, this strategy pays off. The goal is to attract guests quickly because your property is not only better looking than everyone else's, but it is also cheaper. So you can get more guests and deliver an incredible experience and rack up some glowing 5-star reviews. Those reviews will be social proof that future guests need to feel confident about booking your place at full price. While your pricing is low, make sure you're offering something above and beyond. Maybe it's a welcome bottle of wine, a handwritten note, or a local guidebook you put together for the best restaurants and things to do in the area. These small gestures can turn an average stay into a memorable one. And when guests feel like they got more than they expected, they're far more likely to leave a stellar review and recommend your place to others, or even better, return. Once those first few bookings roll in and you've got a handful of solid reviews, it's time to gradually increase your prices. Use your pricing software. I personally prefer a dynamic software like Price Labs to optimize your rates based on demand, seasonality, and local events. These tools use algorithms to adjust your prices dynamically, ensuring you're charging top dollar when demand is high and staying competitive in the dips. But pricing is just one part of the equation. You need to make sure that your listing is continually optimized. This means regularly updating your description to highlight new amenities or newer features that you have added. Swapping out photos if you've made upgrades, or if seasonal changes make your property more appealing. Maybe during the summer you have summer pictures, and during the winter, like a cozy winter setup or a summer ready patio. Responding to views and guest questions promptly and professionally. Engagement boosts your visibility and shows potential guests that you actually care. Don't be afraid to experiment. Test different headlines, adjust your photos, or offer promotions during slower periods. Track what works and refine your approach. The properties that stay booked year-round are the ones whose owners are consistently fine-tuning the details of their property, their listings, and their rental arbitrage business. Which brings me to step number 7, building a rockstar team to run your operations. So at some point, you're going to realize that you can't, or at least you shouldn't, do everything yourself. The goal of rental arbitrage isn't to create another job for yourself. It's to build a business that operates smoothly, even when you're not directly involved. And that means assembling a top-notch team to handle the daily grind. First up, you need cleaners. They are the heartbeat, they are the spine of your operation. A great cleaner ensures your property is always guest ready, and their attention to detail can mean the difference between a 5-star review and a 1-star and a complaint. Use platforms like Turno or Care.com to find cleaners who have experience with short-term rentals. Interview them thoroughly, set clear expectations, and make sure they understand the importance of not only reliability, but also thoroughness. Pay them well, seriously. Great cleaners are worth their weight in gold. Make sure you pay them well. Offer them consistent work, treat them with respect, and they'll go above and beyond to keep your properties spotless. And when you find a cleaner who knocks it out of the park, lock them in. Give them incentives so they stick with you, like bonuses for positive guest feedback or holiday gifts to show your appreciation. Next, you're gonna need a handyman or a maintenance guy, maintenance person that you can actually trust. Things will break, light bulbs will burn out, faucets will leak, and guests will find creative ways to damage furniture or find something wrong. Having a reliable handyman on a call means that these issues got fixed quickly, keeping your operation running smoothly and your guests happy. Build a relationship with your handyman just like you do with your cleaners, and make sure they are compensated very well, and know that they're a valued part of your team. The fewer headaches they have, the fewer you'll have. To handle guest communications and admin tasks, consider hiring a VA or a virtual assistant. Platforms like Upwork or onlinejobs.ph or Fiverr are gold mines for finding experienced VAs who specialize in short-term rentals. Ideally, you want a VA who has previously worked for Airbnb or a similar platform before. They know the game, the common issues, and how to keep guests happy. And your VA can handle everything from responding to guests to guest inquiries and managing bookings to coordinating with your cleaning team and handling minor issues that may pop up. This frees you up to focus on the bigger picture, growing and scaling your rental arbitrage business, working on your business and not in your business. So step number 8, scaling your rental arbitrage business. So once you've got the property running smoothly, it's time to think about adding more units. Rental arbitrage is all about scaling smartly. The systems and team you've put in place for your first property are designed to handle multiple properties. The goal is to replicate your process, not reinvent it every time, just replicate it. The key to scaling is consistency. Identify what worked for your first property, how you found the landlord, how you furnished the space, how you priced it, and create a repeatable system. Document each step so that when you're ready for your second, third, fourth, or even 10th, 20th property, you're not starting from scratch. Stay focused on your chosen market. Expanding with 1 or 2 markets allows you to build efficiency. Your cleaners, handyman, and VAs can handle multiple properties in the same area, making operations smoother and more cost effective. Plus, you can become an expert in that market, knowing exactly which neighborhoods perform the best, where demand is the strongest, and what guests are actually looking for, because you'll have more and more properties of your own to compare to. And when you're ready to expand, leverage the relationships you've built. Landlords who love working with you on the first property probably have other units, and they'd probably be willing to rent other properties to you. Realtors you've worked with can keep an eye out for the off-market opportunities for you. Your network becomes a pipeline for new deals. And don't forget to keep refining your system. As you scale, automation and delegation become even more critical. The more you can streamline, the more properties you can manage without burning out. So what is your next step from here? You got the basics of how it works, but you might want to step by step. All right, you've made it to the end, and which tells me you're serious about this. You're not just here for some half-assed info. You're ready to take action. Or maybe you just want to learn more about it, see the in-depth step-by-step. And if that's you, I've got something that's going to make your journey a hell of a lot easier. If you want a detailed step-by-step guide to rental arbitrage or buying properties where I actually go on my screen and go step-by-step on how to do things, I'm giving you the tools you need to hit the ground running. I'm talking about my custom calculators for running the numbers, whether it's for arbitrage, whether it's for buying properties, Airbnb, all of that. My proven scripts for reaching out to landlords and securing deals, and a stack of PDFs, checklists, and downloadables to help you get your first property up and running. Oh, and did I mention? My starter course is completely for free. No fluff, no catch, just the exact resources that have helped my students build successful rental arbitrage businesses. If you're ready to dive in and get your hands on all of these free resources, you can hit the link down below in the description and grab your spot. But maybe you're ready for more. Maybe you don't just want the tools. You want someone who's been in the trenches to guide you personally, to hold your hand. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can get access to my property locating team, tap into my in-house 0% interest business credit funding team, and even have my crew set up your properties for you and manage them for you if you want. Then it's time to see if you're a good fit for my B&B Syndicate program. This is the same program where I have students making anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $70,000 a month. And that's no hype, just proven results. You can see the screenshots, you can see the videos on my Instagram as well. If so, hit the link down below to access the free program, grab the goodies, or book a call to see if you got what it takes to join B&B Syndicate. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. Now go out there and crush your rental arbitrage journey, your short-term rental journey, Airbnb journey, and I'll see you inside. Peace.